On today's vlog, we'll be having with us a very special guest who, through the help of his NGO called GERCA, has given children access to affordable education and brighter opportunities. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is MDL Space. My name is Chinonthero Hubie, and on today's episode, a guest will be joining us, and we are going to dive right into the video. But before then, let me say thank you to over 800 subscribers. Thank you for keeping us. Thank you for watching our videos. To our returning subscribers, we are grateful. If this is your first time on this channel, please don't forget to subscribe. Turn on your notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever we make a new post. And most importantly, like, engage, share. Let's get right into the video for the day. For today's episode, we have a very special guest in our midst. And he's my precious brother-in-law, who is a priest. So, Father, please introduce yourself.
Father Mike, I work right now in France with the Archdiocese of Strasbourg, and I also teach at the university. I'm a chaplain to the African communities of the Archdiocese of Strasbourg.
Okay.
And one of the founders of GERCA.
Of course, which is why we are here today. So welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you for doing us the honors of joining us on today's video. So today I want us to talk about your just completed project GERCA, and first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm sure it's been a journey, so congrats once again. So I have a couple of questions I would like you to answer and share with us your experience so far. So permit me to go through.
Let's go.
All right, great. So what inspired you to start GERCA, and what does the name represent? Is it just an acronym, or GERCA is the full name? So tell us more about GERCA.
Okay, let's start from the second question.
Okay.
GERCA is the five fingers of Jesus.
Okay.
GERCA, and it came from a talk I gave on how Jesus would react in the face of misery, and it's drawn from John chapter 6, when Jesus had preached for the whole day and saw that people were hungry. So basically, we're studying that chapter and we realized that what did Jesus do? He gave thanks, which is gratitude, and then he put himself in the shoes of those people who are not eating all day, so it's empathy. And then of course he pushed his apostles to think, which is reflection. He would like give them something to eat yourselves. And then he also asked them to sit in 50 groups of 50, so to cooperate. And then he got the apostles to be involved, which is everybody putting hands together, working together. So that's the cooperation. There's the C, and then of course the A is action. So looking at that, we said, wow, this is how Jesus will deal with a bad situation. And if we're going to react to the misery among our youths in Nigeria and maybe outside, we should follow the model of Jesus. That's how we took the name GERCA.
Okay, that's very beautiful. I never really thought of it that way. I just felt that was the name GERCA. I didn't know the history or the story behind the name. So that's a beautiful name. So I asked what inspired you to start it. Especially the project where.
Okay, well, what inspired me to start GERCA, because GERCA has also 5 areas. Okay. The school, which is what we have just opened, is one of the 5 areas of GERCA. So why did I do that? Because as a young priest 17 years ago, a lot of young people would come to me and say, I finished school, I can't get a job, I don't have skills, I don't know what to do. So we just felt we needed a place where youth, first of all, can be properly educated, and maybe in addition to that, get a skill. Okay. And then ask people who want to support youths to join us. We wanted to create a credible platform where people who want to support youth education and youth empowerment and children education can then go through us to help such people. That's basically it.
All right, that's a good inspiration. Okay, so the school is now a reality. How does it feel seeing this vision come to life?
The relief.
Literally, that's how you feel.
The relief, yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Like, wow, when we started, it looked like an impossible dream, but gradually we have come to where we are. It's still not finished, but it's good enough to start. A project like that can never be finished. So hope that we have done our part, and then other people will take it from there, and possibly in the future make it a bigger place. But this is what we committed to doing, and we have delivered on it. Our promise was to start something like that. Now we started it. Let's see how it grows in the hands of other people.
Well done, Father. I really admire your courage.
Thank you.
Okay, so what was your biggest challenge in getting the school from idea to completion?
What was the biggest challenge you experienced?
Yeah, the biggest challenge we faced was disbelief.
Okay.
It just looked too big to everybody with whom we talked. Like, why are you dreaming so big? It's easier to just sponsor a kid in school here and there. It's easier to just support one youth here or there. Why do you want to build an entire school? But I don't have a problem with disbelief. I always believe that anything you put your mind to will work. And if God is on your side, it's only a question of time it's going to work. Yeah, so that's was our biggest challenge. Disbelief. People found it difficult initially to believe that we're really going to go through with it. But now we've done that. Like I said, we still have a lot of work to do, and we're still believing now that if we could come this far, we can still go a little further.
That's great. I feel like you've conquered the main part, which is setting it up and starting it. So
Exactly.
I believe that with God on your side and cooperation of others, it's going to work.
Absolutely.
Yes. So as a priest, how has your faith guided you into taking on such a huge project?
Yeah, this follows the previous question. Faith is everything. I mean, without faith, it is impossible to please God. Hebrews 11:6. So I just think that that's the basics of our Christian vocation. We have to want to please God in every situation, and that begins by having faith, believing that whatever we're doing, we're not alone, that God is with us. That's the name of Jesus Christ, Emmanuel. God is with us. And if God is with us, then we cannot count on our own strength. The Bible says that if the Lord does not build in the house, in vain do the laborers build, and unless the Lord watches over the city, in vain the watchmen keep vigil. Psalm 127 verse 1. So we just keep believing that God is with us, and because God is with us, we're not afraid, and that's the basis of our faith, that we know that we're not alone. We have the force that created heaven and earth on our side, and there's no reason why we should fail.
Perfect. All right. So, what message do you have for young people about combining faith with practical action in their community?
That's a very good question, because sometimes there's this divide. You know, people are declaring and claiming and believing God, and they're not acting. And on the other hand, you have people who just believe they can work it all out in their own strength.
Yes.
I think it's a marriage of both that actually works. There's this saying that you should work as if you have not prayed, and pray as if you have not worked. Because in that way, both your prayers, which is your faith, and your work come together to ensure that what you're pursuing is realized. So yeah, that would be what I would tell any young person. Don't fail to believe, and don't fail to work on what you believe.
That's great. Thank you, Father. So, why was it important for you to bring this project back home, Nigeria, even though you're not based here?
Because this is where we need it. Where I live in France, the government does a lot of things for the young people, and here in Nigeria, we're not that lucky. You know, the government is doing a bit, but not enough. Certainly not enough. So, faith-based organizations like ours and other NGOs, other civil society organizations, need to then fill in the gap. And the church is known for doing a lot of that. And even though this is not a direct church project, the truth is, I mean, most of those behind it are people of faith, and it's important that we fill in that gap to make sure that our society develops.
Okay, thank you. So I know you mentioned earlier that GERCA is not just all about the school. So apart from this school, what other future plans does GERCA have?
Well, before I talk about future plans, let's talk about what GERCA does right now, already, apart from the school. The school, like I said, is one of the 5 fingers of GERCA. We also have the GERCA Kids, which is all the kids that we sponsor in school. We have a list of students from indigent families for whom we pay school fees regularly. And so that's what we call GERCA Kids. Then we have the GERCA Outreaches, which is just basically going to rural areas and providing healthcare, providing school materials, and providing whatever is needed in that place. But it's not it's not like a monthly thing. It's from time to time, say once in 3 months, during Christmas, during big feasts, seasonal thing. Yeah, so that's GERCA Outreaches. We try to reach out to people where they might have needs. And then we have GERCA Peace. GERCA Peace is about training in peace studies. It's basically about conflict resolution and organizing society. So we do a lot of trainings for groups, for NGOs, and we have a little partnership with one of the diplomas at the University of Strasbourg that helps us to train people who want to volunteer in humanitarian activities, and we'll train them in how to go about that. And that's GERCA Peace. And then, of course, We have I've talked about the GERCA Academy. I mean, that's the first one. That's the latest kid on the block. So we have the GERCA word. GERCA word is the oldest of the GERCA children because it was the first to start 10 years ago. It's basically spiritual reflections, my writings, my homilies, which I send out every Sunday, and then of course a group of other friends, priests notably, who have joined in the GERCA word. So those are the 5 fingers of GERCA.
Okay, that's beautiful. So I know GERCA has started now actively in Edo State. So are you looking at, expanding maybe to other states, maybe Abuja, for instance?
Expanding it. The good thing about GERCA is that it doesn't have, it's a transnational organization.
Okay,
it doesn't have to be in one place.
State,
And thank God for digital technology, we can do things from everywhere.
Yeah, true.
So while the headquarters, because the headquarters is in Abuja here, but the headquarters is in Abuja, the truth is that the school project is in Edo State, but the GERCA piece is at Strasbourg, it's in France. And yeah, it just depends on where the need is. And we have trainings regularly. I have had to do trainings at Oshogbo, in different states in Lagos, from where I am in my room in France.
Definitely.
So it's a digital world. We don't need a location anymore.
True.
Wherever the needs are, from where we are, we just reach out, and all you need is internet connection, and we can reach you from anywhere. Yes.
That's great. So how can people watching support the work that GERCA is doing?
Pray for the project, believe in the project, and reach out. Maybe also financially, of course. It's a small, growing NGO, so it needs a lot of financial support. Most importantly, I think spreading the news, spreading the word about GERCA is the greatest way anyone can help us right now. And maybe copying the model, because one of the things we had in mind in creating GERCA was not just to do one project, say train a child in school or help a child to set up his or her shop. We do those things, but what we really wanted to do was to create a model of social development, so that anybody you don't have to call it GERCA. You just copy the model and use it in your own place or for another project. And then I think that's one of the ways I think we can help GERCA, apart from praying for us, giving us money, spreading the word. But copy the model and make it better.
Okay, that's great. So if you could leave one message to the children and parents of this school, what would that be?
Believe in yourselves. I would say to the children, believe in yourselves. And I would say to the parents, no investment in a child is too much. No amount of investment in a child is too much. But what we have done with GERCA, each and every one of the children in that school, just one of them can do 10 times over. So that's why we think that whatever we're spending on those kids, because I've heard this joke a lot about, how could you spend so much building a school and then they pay so little? Like, it's ridiculous. But it's a non-profit, and that's important. We don't intend to make profit from this. If anything, we will keep spending money on it. But having said that, the parents need to now, in addition to whatever we're giving to those kids, also continue to invest in those children, consecrate time to them at home, help them to grow properly, and by the time they grow up, the parents and society will be happy for it.
That's great. So I have one last question, and that would be, what was the most emotional or fulfilling moment since you got to the site of the school and you saw everything in place, and what was the first emotions that rushed through your mind?
During the Thanksgiving Mass, I shed a tear of joy when the priest raised the worship song, and for whatever reason, all the memories from the day we wanted to buy land and we couldn't get land to buy just came, flooding back, and I'm like, here we are. 2 years ago, this place was a forest. There was basically nothing there. And here we are, we have come this far. And I think it's all because we believed that God was with us, and the people who were working with us also shared that belief. And, so for me, that was the most emotional moment. When we saw those kids for the first time in the GERCA t-shirts, marching to the altar to thank God, and they were enjoying themselves and just smiling, and when they saw their school bus coming to be blessed and all that, you could see that these kids want to learn. They really want to learn, and there's nothing as terrible as a kid who wants to learn and cannot learn. it's terrible for the child, it's terrible for society. So I was so moved that wow, so we can bridge that gap for these kids so they can learn.
I can just imagine how you felt that day when I saw the pictures, and I was really, really happy because to an extent I was in the know of how it's been going on, so I could just imagine. Thank you so much, Father, for bringing this project to life, you and the entire GERCA team. I'm sure it must have been very hectic, and I don't know, it's been a long journey, but we're grateful we're up and running. Also, thank you for joining us once again on this episode. So I'd like you to leave us a final word, blessing, anything.
Final word.
Yes.
Like, subscribe, and share.
Okay, so you read?
Let's build this channel.
Yes.
I really like what's going on here.
Yes. So thank you so much. I really appreciate. And we will keep spreading the good news of GERCA and keep implementing the model that GERCA has already set in place. Thank you so much for being on this channel.
Thank you.